This video is brought to you by ncix.com. Great technology, selection, and service.
The GTX 980 Ti was announced 8 months ago, and since then we have seen countless custom designs, one of which is the GIGABYTE GTX 980 Ti G1 Gaming. This card is actually priced within a few dollars of a reference design, which could make it a good value for those looking for an alternative to an expensive Titan X or a different higher priced GTX 980 Ti. Specs wise, you're looking at a GM200 core with a base clock of 1190 MHz that boosts to 1279 MHz, 6GB of GDDR5 memory, and a memory speed of 7 GHz. Having looked at these numbers, we are expecting to run neck to neck with MSI's GTX 980 Ti Gaming 6G, which is about the same specs but costs a bit more. From a physical standpoint, GIGABYTE's lineup of GTX 980 Ti cards may be a bit confusing. In order of performance, there's the reference version, the WindForce, the G1 Gaming in today's review, and the Extreme cards we saw at CES this year. However, the overall design and component choices on these cards share a lot of similarities. The heatsink is the same, albeit the G1 receives some metallic finishes on the frame, and like the other GTX 980 Ti's in the GIGABYTE lineup, it also happens to be one of the longest 980 Ti's on the market. The WindForce 3X cooler makes a comeback here with three 80mm fans blowing air onto an extremely long heatsink. The reason why they expanded horizontally is pretty straightforward. It offers a much greater area where air can freely move through the heatsink, which in turn allows the card to remain within dual slot tolerances. On the side, you'll find the word WindForce and two flanking stop indicators. GIGABYTE has implemented start-stop fan technology, so when the card is utilized in low-load scenarios, the stop areas will glow a dull blue to indicate the fans are idled. Meanwhile, when the workload switches to something like gaming, the fans spin up and the WindForce logo will begin to glow with any color chosen from within GIGABYTE's OC Guru 2 software suite. The G1 backplate receives a thicker aluminum cover with a few strategically placed ventilation slots. This blends in perfectly with the rest of the card's design and provides an extremely clean look for any builds with a windowed case. This card takes power via two 8-pin connectors which have been seamlessly blended into the heatsink as GIGABYTE wanted to achieve an optimal heatsink design. The I/O consists of a pair of DVI outputs along with three full-size display ports and a single HDMI port. GIGABYTE calls it their Flex Display interface since it gives users the ability to push a display signal to as many as 5 monitors without adapters or daisy chaining. Basically, you're getting an extra DVI port, but one that only carries a 1080p signal since the second DVI connector is not dual link compatible. GIGABYTE's revised OC Guru 2 software is nothing that exciting except you get a complete set of LED controls. These adjust the color, brightness, and behavior of the WindForce logo on the side that we talked about earlier. From our testing, the fans on the G1 gaming card idle for about 2 minutes during full load and then ramp things up, but they never reach extreme levels or even particularly audible levels. In fact, the speeds never go too far above the values from the Strix OC. That's pretty impressive. I have good news for temperatures as well. The trio fans kick in when the heat rises up under load, but it levels around the 66 degrees Celsius mark. This not only allows plenty of room for overclocking, but it shows how efficient GIGABYTE's design really is. Acoustics have always played well with GIGABYTE's cards, as it keeps quite well with the competition. As you can see, the G1 Gaming hovers around 33 decibels idle and 41 decibels under load. It also consumes less power compared to the monstrous Zotac 980 Ti amp and the Strix 980 Ti OC, which is great news. And now onto the best part, gaming performance. We see it's sandwiched right in between the MSI 980 Ti 6G and the EVGA 980 Ti Superclock Plus in most of our 1440p tests. This is to be expected as the specs that come out of the box are again between both of these cards. Switching to 4K and the results are here and there. The G1 does a little better than the MSI and EVGA cards in most games, but surprisingly it got closer to the Zotac amp as well. We have been able to overclock most GTX 980 Ti cards to somewhere between the 1400 MHz and 1500 MHz marks. However, Gigabyte's cards does happen to move itself into the upper echelons by attaining a core speed of 1510 MHz, while the memory topped out at close to 8000 MHz. But what's really interesting are those temperatures. At 60% fan speed, which is ridiculously quiet, the GM200 core hits just 58 degrees C and sat there for the entire time. That is phenomenal. We have come across a lot of 980 Ti's, and the G1 is just another addition. Performance-wise, it keeps up quite well with the competition, to name some: the MSI 980 Ti 6G and the EVGA 980 Ti Superclock Plus. But what surprised us was the thermal and acoustic performance. The WindForce cooler is still one of the best around, and it's totally worth considering over the reference card from Nvidia. In the grand scheme of things, this card also provides a pretty good value if you're looking for a ultra high-end gaming solution, and for that, we're giving it the Hardware Canucks Damn Good Award. So that concludes our review of the Gigabyte GTX 980 Ti G1 gaming graphics card. Let us know your thoughts about this card in the comments down below. I'm Eber with Hardware Canucks. Don't forget to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.